I met a gypsy.
So I spoke to Sam Hill. I don't know if you heard that interview, but one of the dope things that I just love about downhill, and it's one of the I guess what I was saying before, like that sort of internal monologue drops away and you're just so in the moment, and everything's kind of gone. I feel like mountain biking was the first thing that ever gave me that, and I've spent my whole life, like I don't think I understood what that state was. I thought that was just a product of the mountain bike, but I've learned that you can find that anywhere in life, but there's sort of ways that give you access to it that's a lot easier than others. And then so for me to talk to Sam about that, and he said he probably has like 8 runs in his entire life where everything was gone, no crowd noise, no nothing, like you could feel every rock, you could feel every bump, you just completely immersed in the zone. And as a guy, I think that downhill has such like a unique way to bring that out of people. And I mean, I get the same thing in jiu-jitsu, like you're so focused, the stakes feel so high in the moment that you go, instinct kicks in and you do your thing. But then that's such a fine line, like if your head's not in the right place and you can not experience that at all, or you can make a little mistake and then you're like, why did I make that mistake? And then you've gone, the monologue starts up, and then you're back riding shotgun to the thing that you're actually there to do. Can you relate to that as a guy? Like obviously Sam's got some insane runs where he's just literally destroyed the world. You've got some of those runs as well. Do you have any of those that stick out in your mind? Are they more, like did you have more than 8 of those? Can you do it on cue? Is it a place that's hard to get to? Like, I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, man. I think I maybe have a little bit different view of it. I have a hard time even thinking back to a run where I did everything right, where it really all clicked. I'm so like critical, I guess, like of what perfection would look like in a race run. Not to the point where it takes the fun out of it, but just I feel like every run I get down and I'm like, man, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. Like that's always my first thought, honestly. Because I've had like that rhythm of like learn from every run, try to be better for the next one. Like that's been such a big part of my mentality for years and years, that like as soon as I cross the finish line, like I'm like always breaking it down, and I'm learning as I'm getting older to kind of let that go sometimes a little bit and be like, dude, just enjoy it. You can break down the run later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a few that stick out to me. There was one, in Italy in Val Di Sol, I think it was 2012, where I won, I think by almost 8 seconds. Same thing in qualifying. It was just like one of those weekends where I felt like I had a line on every straightaway of the track that nobody else had. And I had speed and fitness, and it was just like, I knew like I could dominate. I just needed to put the pieces of the puzzle together in the race run. And while I was racing, it was like I was just checking the boxes. Like each section was like a little puzzle piece, and it was like, all right, got that one, moving on to the next one. Like you're racing, but it feels like you're not there racing. Like you're just kind of almost like watching yourself race, and you're just going through this like rhythmic set of motions to get down the hill, and then you cross the finish line and you're like, well, I'm done. Like it's a wild feeling when you kind of get into that zone, I guess, when you're just like, you're almost on autopilot. Like you've done so much preparation, so much studying, like every inch of the track, and you're just hitting your lines and just picking your way down the course, and you get there and it's done. And it's like, it is a pretty wild feeling to be so immersed into something like that. But like you said, I feel like that a lot when I ride. Even yesterday, I was riding with a buddy of mine just on e-bikes on a local trail. And just riding down the track together, I was just like, man, it's just so much fun, because you're not thinking about anything else. Like you're just there enjoying the feeling of the bike, and you can go wherever you want and do whatever you want with it. And I don't know. To me, I think that's why bicycles have lasted as long as they have in my life, because there's such a passion there for me. Like I love it. I love the feeling of riding. I have ever since I was like 3 or 4 years old. And so when you're racing at that level, to be able to enjoy the sport at that level because your skill is that high, like it's kind of comes back to the first conversation you have, the better you get at something, the more you can enjoy it. So I'm thankful for that every day. Like I love riding bikes. So to have kind of the skills I've built over the years allows it to be like, to me, like the most fun thing in the world. Like it's so cool. So I've had a couple of those runs in my career where I feel like I was in the zone, everything was clicking, I wasn't making many mistakes, and it is a wild feeling. It's hard to explain. It almost feels like both better than you ever thought it could be, and then also like very expected at the same way. You're like, that's what I trained for. Like, it actually just went to plan and I didn't jack it up. Like, good.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. Yeah, I love hearing about that because, yeah, I mean, I think for all of us, like, that's what we can relate to. I can't relate to going as fast as you go down a hill, and I can't relate to winning a World Cup overall, and I can't relate to winning world champs. But for that, whatever period of time that it is, when you go riding and the wheels are moving underneath you, and then you're just kind of gone, and then it's almost like you just wake up from a dream, but you can remember the dream, but you feel like you were dreaming, and it's like to just be in that state. I think you mentioned contentment before. Like, I think there is so much contentment in that place, and I think that's why we all ride, whether we know it or not. You know, it's like that's that subtle feeling that's so hard to describe, it's so hard to fully articulate and explain, but it's like you can feel it and I can feel it, and there's a world between us in terms of skill and speed and result and all, but we know that feeling. And I think it's been it's a really cool part of my job is to kind of, I guess, get other people's perspective on that feeling that we all feel.
For sure, man. Yeah, I think that's what's so cool. If you ride, or I mean, really any sport or activity, if you can, you know, I think a lot of people relate to that. But when it comes to riding moto or mountain bikes or whatever, like it's very fun to talk to people like you and like-minded people, because they enjoy that and kind of know what that feels like. And for me, man, like I said, I've loved it since I can pretty much have been able to walk, and I'll do it for as long as I can till I'm dead. I can't imagine like anything being more fun. So it's pretty crazy to be able to do it every day for a job. That's for sure.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.